At some point, we've all fallen in love with a story with talking animals. Whether it's Velveteen Rabbit, Wind in the Willows, Watership Down, or even Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. They've all made an impact on our lives along the way. Winterset Hollow by Jonathan Edward Durham is a great piece of writing that takes it's a trope, but gives it a dark twist. We're going to talk about it right now. Welcome to Matt Reviews Books. I am Matt, and this is a book review channel and book related dedicated to books, fiction, nonfiction. It includes also comic books, graphic novels, things of that ilk. This week, we're talking about Jonathan Edward Durham's Winterset Hollow. In Winterset Hollow, three friends travel to an isolated island that was once the home of a children's book author. The fictional book was written by the reclusive author of Talking Animals in an Idyllic Land. It's a story of a peace that is broken and the characters being forced to change in ways they never expected. Once there, the three friends find that the storybook is far more real and far more dangerous than they possibly ever imagined. The three friends, Eamon, Mark, and Carolyn, are a group similar to groups of friends that I've had over the years. Eamon is a young man whose background is filled with borderline abuse and neglect. At one point in his upbringing, he receives a copy of Winterset Hollow mysteriously. He feels like an outsider, and his social skills are questionable at best. I'm going to stop here and note that one of my favorite things about Durham's writing is the slow unfolding of events and information about this young man, Eamon. Just helps keep the suspense. As much as Addington Island, where this author used to live, is mysterious, Eamon is equally so. And it's a gift to get to know him through the unfolding story. Eamon's friend Mark is athletic and less intellectual than his friends. At least that's how he portrays himself. He apparently hasn't read Winterset Hollow. Most of the time, he plays at being the mope to Eamon and Carolyn's more developed intellectualism. Carolyn is Mark's girlfriend and Eamon's supportive friend. She's kind of like a mama bear to Eamon. She has a turbulent history with her own family, which offers common ground for Eamon. She owns multiple copies of Winterset Hollow, as a proper bibliophile does, but she carries her mother's copy with her when she visits Addington Island. It's on the island where the story turns fantastic. It's here that we meet the erudite and proper Runnymede Rabbit, the gourmand Flackwell Frog, the bitter and clever Phineas Fox, as well as the massive and silent Binghamton Bear. Runnymede Rabbit, or Runny, is more or less the seneschal of the estate, ensuring that his guests are well cared for. Flackwell is the chef, and his culinary skill is renowned in the fictional tale, which turns out to be factual. Phineas, or Finn the Fox, is bitter and vengeful for what happened to his homeland, and he keeps a particular breed of hound with which he hunts. And Bing Bear is nearly Finn's equal in his anger and spite. Of the four, he's the one that doesn't speak, but he is perhaps the one with the most pathos. These animal characters are from the Hollow, where all animals are highly intelligent and can learn to speak the human language. Every year they have a traditional feast celebrating Barley Day, much like a harvest festival. It's on the annual Barley Day that they open the island to visitors. and that guests are allowed to access the island and the estate, which is why Eamon, Mark, and Carolyn are there. As Durham's tale progresses, we learn that the Barley Day feast and celebrations being hosted on the island are a facade for a more sinister reason. Durham excels at taking what is generally a genre of fantasy and whimsy with talking animals and giving it new breath. Honestly, it took me far too long to get to reading this book and far too long to finish it. I left town for a new job. In fact, I left the state and forgot it half finished on my coffee table. When I did revisit the book, I started from the beginning to experience the full wonder and thrill of the story. I highly recommend this book to anyone who's read The Wind in the Willows, The Velveteen Rabbit, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, or Watership Down, which is probably a closer parallel. And even though the story turns into a nightmare for Eamon and his friends, I never lost empathy or sympathy for Runny and his friends in their search for resolution in their history. That's it for me. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Look for more book reviews. Subscribe down below. Also, I don't just talk about books, but I write them, or at least have written one. And you can find that link down below in the description. The Man in Granite, that's me. It says Paul Reed, that's who I am. Writer's name. Dum de boom. Give it a shot. Pick it up. I appreciate it. But more importantly, it's a lot of work to write books, and people who do it well are gifts to mankind. And especially this week's Winterset Hollow, Jonathan Edward Durham. Look for it. It's a great book. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.